Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road. It's the Aggie Soccer Hour with Texas A&M head coach G Guerrieri. I'm David Ellis. Glad you're with us tonight. If you're out and about driving around, I just noticed again that green chili stew here at Rudy's Barbecue is on the menu, and it's getting cool enough now to have green chili stew, and I'm going to get me some to take home before it's over with. But if you're trying to figure out what to have for dinner, problem solved. Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road. Come on by and you get to talk to Texas A&M head coach G Guerrieri along with Carolyn Calzada and Reese Rupe, who will join us in the second segment tonight. And G, the Aggies coming off of a tie against Auburn on Friday night, and kind of a sort of a dreary day in Auburn, Alabama. And it was a game where Texas A&M had their chances. Auburn had some chances as well. Your thoughts on the game?
Well, we've always, going to Auburn has never been an easy destination for us. Actually, the last time we went there, it was a downright bad situation because we had a deal where we lost 3-0 last time we were there. Referee gave 2 penalty kicks against us, and then a really fluky goal from like the halfway line against us. So this was a lot better result, and actually. We played well enough to get the win. Couple good saves by their goalkeeper, a breakaway by Sammy Smith in the first half. Mia Pante with a really close miss in the second half, and I was pleased with the fight in the team because every time we play against those guys at Auburn, I mean it's a dogfight, and and their backs were up against the wall. Auburn's were. Their season was on the line, and so we knew it was going to be a bit of a dogfight. They were coming in off of a big win against number 1 Arkansas. So we knew that we were going to get a lot of passion out of them, and we did. And in the second half, we outshot them 10-6. Had a lot of the ball, had a lot of good looks, but we could never really get in behind them. And because of that, we didn't get quite the look that we needed to put the game away. So a draw wasn't bad. It kept us in first place in the West. We are in pole position right now to get the number 1 seed in the SEC tournament, which is a nice place to be right now.
Yep, the Aggies are in first place in the West with 1 game against LSU remaining. And now, to be fair, Arkansas, 4 points behind us, has 3 SEC West games remaining. So depends on what Arkansas does. But
so they have to win 3 games to pass us.
And they're at LSU, at Ole Miss. I mean, at home against Ole Miss and at home against Mississippi State.
So
who knows?
They've got to win 3. We've got to win 1. So
yes.
But nonetheless, it's a situation where going on the road, getting a road point was okay.
Yeah, sometimes when you come away with a draw, you kind of feel like, okay, did we lose 2 points or did we get 1 point?
Right.
And I think in this instance, on the road against, like you say, an Auburn team coming off incredible confidence after defeating Alabama, and in a game that, as you say, they have to win. Feel like we got a point.
Yeah, it's a fair result, put it that way. I mean, I don't think we came out of there. There was we tied Baylor earlier this year. We lost 2 points in that game.
That felt like a loss.
Because we kind of came out of there going, okay, they cleared 4 balls off the line. We hit the post 3 times. We missed a couple other balls that should have gone. They had 3 chances. They scored 1, and that felt like a loss, even though it was a tie. So. Compare to that and some other ones, then this was not bad, and we kept moving forward in the table, and it was a Western Division game, and it was a game that we kept moving forward. So then I was able to give the players the rest of the weekend off, which at this point of the season, days off are almost as important as another training day because we now have played so many games in such short times of rest that the body needs it, and so now we were able to train on Monday. We were able to train again today, and we've got 2 huge games this week. So it's
absolutely.
It's, as they say, coming down the stretch.
It is. This is my favorite time of the year, these last 3 games, because everybody plays on Thursday, everybody plays on Sunday, everybody plays the following Thursday to end the season. And so you don't have people playing out of conference. You don't have people taking days off, all that kind of stuff. It's just this is the last 3 games, and everybody is in action, and so much can happen in terms of the way the standings move. It's just like I say, it's my favorite time of the year. And I wanted to tell everybody our last home game, if you can believe that, our last home game, a regular season home game, is coming up on Thursday night against South Carolina. Now, South Carolina is
Right, they're number 17 in the country.
They're a very salty soccer team. But
only 1 loss on the season.
Yes. Other than that, you're going to just keep driving me down, making me feel more and more worried. Mm-hmm. But they're a really good team, and the Aggies, I guarantee you, will be up to the task. But all kinds of other things going on. Get this, it's senior night. Okay, so we'll be recognizing all of the seniors there before the game. That's going to happen about 6:40, 6:45. You don't want to miss that. If you are A&M faculty or A&M staff, you get 2 free tickets, okay? So you get in free, and you can purchase additional tickets for $3. All you have to do is go visit 12thman.com/promotions, and that gives you all the information about getting your tickets. Plus, A&M Soccer Adidas shirt giveaway. We're going to be giving away A&M Soccer shirts to the first 400 fans that visit the Howdy Tent in the northwest corner of Ellis Field. Plus 50% off concessions pregame. So faculty and staff, you can get in free. You can get a free A&M Soccer shirt, Adidas shirt for the first 400 fans, and then 50% off concessions. That's a heck of a deal. It is.
Cheap date. So I think the concession stands open when the gates open at 6 o'clock. So that's when they go for half price. I saw the shirts today. They're maroon. They've got a soccer ball on the front that has a Adidas logo and the state of Texas A&M logo. It's a good look. It's very simplistic, but really good. Understated, but really cool.
Well, and again, all of that is happening on Thursday night at 7 o'clock at Ellis Field, and it's supposed to be a beautiful night.
It is. The cold front, I think, was 47 degrees this morning. I think it's going to be in the around 80 degrees at kickoff on Thursday. So it'll be perfect night to come out for a match.
Well, I remember I was going to walk the dog this morning very early. Gracie walked outside, turned around, and came back in. Said,
nope.
Not yet.
Yep.
Not yet. I'm not ready yet. So anyway, the Aggies, again, the game against Auburn is one of those games where I think Texas A&M, one of the things that it showed was just how good, I wanted to get you to comment on this, how good our back line and goalkeeping situation has been. They've just been stellar all year long, with one notable exception, but just stellar all year long.
Well, they really have been, and the fact that they've gotten better and better and better as the season's gone on, the way that they've played together, how the relationships have kind of just gotten stronger and stronger and stronger. The relationship of 2 of them, they're sisters, so that hasn't broken. They haven't killed each other yet. That's a good thing with Margot and Macy Matula. They've, it's neat to see how sisters how well they've played together and how they've played for each other. And there's a nice article out I saw today. If you go to aggiesoccer.com, you can, or Aggie, through the website, or if you go to any of our social platforms, there's a nice article in there that Thomas Dick has linked in there on Macy and Margot Matula and just their relationship and playing together. But you've got 2 freshmen with Margot Matula and Addie Armenta. Then you've got a sophomore with Carolyn Calzada, and then you've got the oldest one on the line is Macy Matula, who's a junior. And then, some senior goalkeepers. You've got Jordan Gunnarsson. You've got we have a graduate transfer in Grace McClellan, and then of course Kenna Caldwell, who's a 5th-year senior. And it's been a back line that has, lately I think Kenna's goals against average lately is half a goal a game.
Right.
And it's something that we've been able to hang our hat on. And it's made it to where we know that if we can score, we can win. And
right.
And that's a nice thing that's a nice way to be able to play with confidence and know that back line is such a sturdy part of our team.
Well, and you're right. if you score, you can win. I mean, it keeps you in games. And I know Kenna's goals against average with the shutout this last game on the season has gone down below 1 goal a game. It's down to 0. I think it's .91. I think if I remember correctly, which is just outstanding. She's just played really, really well, but it's just as a fan watching the game, watching them work together, and the amount of fight that they have. Addie Armenta, again, you mentioned is a freshman, and of course Margot Matula, a freshman, and then you've got Cece, who, as I mentioned, will be on tonight, and Macy Matula.
And Quinn Cornog, who was in there, who's been in there in a couple different roles for us.
Well, and filled in. You're right. When Cece was out with her ankle,
and Quinn started the season there when we were experimenting, because Quinn was our midfield MVP last year.
Right.
And we started an experiment this year with Quinn. We brought her back on the back line and played Margot in the midfield a little bit, and then we went ahead and brought Quinn back to the midfield, where she's so good, and put Margot just as a killer on the back line, and that's been a really good move for both of them, and and it has cemented the sturdiness of the back line as well.
So the Aggies again back in action. 2 games this week. We're going to mainly focus on the home game. That's 7:00 on Thursday night against South Carolina, but then the Aggies will then turn around, hit the road on Saturday, fly up to Knoxville, and take on Tennessee in Knoxville on Sunday afternoon. That game gets underway at 1:00 Sunday afternoon. And Tennessee.
That's a television game.
That's a television game, and it's always been a tough place for Texas A&M to play.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is about Knoxville, but it's true. And
we don't have a very good record up there, but that's okay. That's okay, because it's all about the next game, and what's next is most important. And going up there is the weather should be nice up there as well, I think. And they're a team that is it's kind of a funky team. They're number 23, I think, in the national RPI.
Right.
And if the NCAA tournament was to be played right now, they would be a pretty high seed.
Right.
But if the SEC tournament was to be played right now, they wouldn't be in it.
Yeah,
which is kind of
it's nuts, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about We're going to talk again about the SEC tournament, because there's on each table I put a couple of these sheets here that explain the SEC tournament. It gives all the standings and explains how it all works and what all the tiebreakers are. And if you don't have one, you can come up here and get another copy, your own personal copy. I ran off a bunch of them, so you're feel free to take that and take it home with you. Kind of explains all the ins and outs about the way. Yeah, it's called the Road to Pensacola.
I think it's called I-10.
Yeah. I think that is actually the Road to Pensacola. Last week's results: Arkansas, number 10 in the country, beat Florida 3-0. No real surprise there. South Carolina and Ole Miss. South Carolina at home, and Ole Miss tied 0-0.
And watching that game, Ole Miss had a great game. They played really, really well.
Georgia over Tennessee by the score of 2-1. And Georgia, the leader in the SEC East. Alabama was at home, 24th ranked in the country, defeated LSU by the score of 4-1. Vanderbilt beat Missouri. Those games were on Friday night. And then on Sunday, Mississippi State went in to Lexington, Kentucky, and handed Kentucky their first loss in a while, and the first loss in the SEC, 2-0.
That was kind of a crazy game. So the first goal was an own goal,
right? And
then second goal was off of a restart, and and a bit of a shocker for Kentucky. I think they were a little kind of chins on the ground, like, oh my gosh, we actually lost a game, and
yes.
It probably will be that's probably a good thing for Kentucky. I think that sometimes when you have these long runs, and we've had a lot of these where you win your first 13 games or 12 games of a season, and you start to you start to get away with making little right, errors here and there, and you get away with it, and sometimes a loss is a good kind of shake you up moment.
It's just kind of a cold slap in the face,
and put you right back into thinking about things. And so that might be a good thing for Kentucky, because they've got some big games for themselves coming down to finish it. They've got to play. Looks like they've got to play. They got to play their last games are going to be at Georgia, then they play Mizzou, and then they play at Ole Miss to finish up.
Two tough road games.
Yeah, so they've got to finish strong.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and come back with our guests tonight, Carolyn Calzada and Reese Rupe. We'll be right back right after this. You're listening to the Aggie Soccer Hour with Texas A&M head coach G Guerrieri. Barbecue on Harvey Road. It's the Aggie Soccer Hour. I'm David Ellis. G Guerrieri's down at the far end of the table, and in the middle here, to my immediate left, a player that you know very well because she has just been outstanding for Texas A&M soccer now, well into her second season. That is Carolyn Calzada. And then to her left is a player that you may not know yet, but I guarantee you before her career is out at Texas A&M, you will know her, and that is Reese Rupe. So welcome to both of them. And, of course, as you well know, one of the highlights of the show, I think, is the fact that we have to get one of our players to read the Rudy's Reader and sell Rudy's Barbecue. And we always try to get the freshmen because we want to kind of break them into this stuff. And so it's Reese's time to do this. Now, Reese, we've been doing this for 3.5 years, going on 4 years. And every time the players, they just do an incredible job, okay? So here's the deal, all right? Just don't mess this up, okay? Promise?
Promise.
Okay, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, Reese Rupe.
Hi. Soccer and barbecue lovers know the perfect brisket needs the right wood. Rudy smokes all their meats using their delicious signature rubs and 100% oak-fired pits. Get your real Texas barbecue fix today at Rudy's or on the web at rudys.com.
There you go. Woo. Knocked it out of the park.
That barbecue's just flying off the shelves right now.
It just made me hungry just listening to her.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what you want to do.
Well, thank you.
All right. So, again, to my immediate left is Carolyn Calzada. Carolyn, all-freshman team. And last season she was top drawer soccer freshman, top 100, SEC Fall Academic Honor Roll, Texas A&M Soccer Newcomer of the Year. I mean, started every game that she was able to start. Missed a couple because of an ankle injury. By the way, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling much better, yeah.
Are you really? You
Yeah.
were running like you were.
Yeah, it feels a lot better. Happy to be
Kind
back.
of back to normal?
Yeah.
So you're kind of, a sophomore, but you're one of the veterans back there. I mean, are you telling we've got two freshmen back there and Addie and Margot? Are you being one of the leaders of the back line, playing center back?
Yeah, I feel like I kind of had to step into that role after, we lost our two seniors last year. So I feel like Kenna's been like a really big leader behind us as a senior. But, yeah, I feel like I've had to step up quite a bit.
So to her left, as I mentioned, is Reese Rupe. And Reese, again, has been out because of a knee injury, right?
Yes, sir.
This is a red shirt season for you. So you're going to have 4 more after this, right?
Yes.
You're going to be on the 5-year plan at Texas A&M, right? I absolutely recommend that. I really, really do. And it's the only way to go. Now, all she did was, now get this. This is something that she went to Grand Oaks High School in Spring, Texas. And she was the first all-state athlete in Grand Oaks High School history, okay? Ooh. Now, when you become a mama, Reese, and you've got your two little kids, you can go down there and you can say, maybe they grow up and they're really good athletes, and maybe they go to Grand Oaks, or maybe, something like that, and they make all-state. You'll always be able to say, yeah, but I was the first one. That's going to be pretty cool,
Yes,
They're never going to be able to one-up you. But she was all Greater Houston Chronicle Female Athlete of the Week, 2 separate weeks. This is the neatest award I've ever heard of, a great name for an award. She was named to the Lethal Enforcer 22 preseason Greater Houston starting 11. Being a lethal enforcer, that is some. How did you earn that moniker?
I don't think they have that on the West Coast. I don't think they have that on the West Coast at all.
That sounds like a Texas thing.
That's a Texas award if there's ever been a Texas award.
I mean, that's pretty cool thing to carry around there,
Thank you.
So what have you thought about your first year as a college athlete?
Honestly, like being injured, I thought it'd be a lot more depressing than it is, but it's honestly so much fun just getting to know the team and be in a different role and seeing everything from the outside perspective and just cheering everyone on.
Well, has it given you a different perspective on the game?
It really has. It's made me love the game a lot more because I'm missing it and I want to play, and it just grows your gratitude for what you don't have.
Right. I can imagine that's the truth. And CC, we mentioned you missed a couple of games. And I mean, for you watching from the sidelines, what was that like?
It's definitely hard, but again, no matter what my role is, I'm going to step up and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. So I was cheering my teammates on. I was talking to the back line from the sidelines. You know, I stepped into the role of being like the cheerleader and hyping everybody up at that time.
Yeah. Well, and you're one of the leaders, and people will listen to you. You know, you've been through this before. You know what it's like, even though you're only a sophomore. I mean, you know what you're talking about. I should say one more thing about Reese. I said you didn't know her, but you know her last name. Her mom is Bryn Blaylock Rupe, okay, who was an All-American soccer player at Texas A&M. And was Bryn your first All-American?
She was the first All-American of the varsity program. Now we had some All-Americans before I got here.
Yeah.
There was like Bettina Bernardi and some great players who were here in those days. But Bryn was the first like big time player that we signed here at Texas A&M along with Diana Rowe back in the early 90s. Yeah.
And her dad is Ryan Rupe, who was an All-American in baseball at Texas A&M. So
and both are Texas A&M Hall of Famers.
Yeah, both her mom and her dad are in the Texas A&M Athletic Hall of Fame. So it wasn't like, I don't know if you wanted to go anywhere else, but you weren't going to go anywhere else, right?
Nope. I feel like when you're bleed maroon, you have to go to A&M.
You got to go to A&M. I mean, did you ever even think about going somewhere else? Reese?
Oh, I did, because I was like, high expectations, you know? I wanted to set my own path, but I'm an Aggie girl born and raised. Couldn't change it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. I mean, and this is maybe not a fair question, but I'll ask it anyway. Because of your parents' success, does that add pressure to you or not?
I feel like when I was younger, I thought it did, but I've just learned to know that I'm my own person and I've my own life that I can live. So
yeah,
makes it a little less pressure.
Good. And of course, Carolyn, brother Zach Calzada, played quarterback at Texas A&M, and he is now at Incarnate Word, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
How's he liking that?
He really likes it. I mean, he's thriving. He's just happy to be on the field. He was out for almost 2 years with back-to-back shoulder surgeries. So,
Jeez.
I mean, he's just enjoying his time. And, I mean, again, kind of like Reese was talking about, he grew gratitude for the game again. So he's just happy to be back on the field.
Your parents just kind of split time between San Antonio and here, even though y'all are from Georgia?
Yeah, it's like Thursdays through Sundays. They're driving all around Texas. Or, you know, kind of making a quick flight somewhere else. Like he had a game in Colorado 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And then back to Georgia to do some laundry, check on our dog who's been staying at our neighbor's house, and then maybe sweep a little, get back on the road.
Jeez. Yeah, that's they're still an athletics daughter, son, mom, and dad, okay? They're still following the kids around playing sports, right? It's haven't changed in all of these years. No. So I wanted to talk to you, or ask you both about you're going into the stretch drive now, and the Aggies right now are sitting atop the SEC West and have an opportunity, one game in front of them, SEC West game, two other games that are really, really important, to actually control your own destiny to some degree. Now, all depends on what Arkansas does, but you've got those things in front of you. What's the mindset of the team, Reese? And I'm asking you because you're the one that you can kind of step back and see what's going on and see what other people are thinking. What do you see?
I think this is one of the best mindsets our team's had all season. I feel like we've all really grown together, and I feel like going into these next few games in the SEC tournament, like, we are so strong as a group, and I'm just so excited to see what everyone does.
Outstanding. When are you going to be able to, will you be able to go full speed in the spring? What's the schedule?
I'm 4 months post-op right now. In the spring, I should be good for everything. So.
All right. Fantastic. And CC, I wanted to ask you the same thing because you've been through this before. What do you see the team's mindset going into these last 3 games?
I mean, it's a winning mindset. We started off a little bit rough. Beginning of the season, we came back, started off the SEC well. We've had some ups and downs, and I think there's just a different mindset and energy within this team this year. We've not let it get to us. We've grown off of all our mistakes, all of the downs, and we've come back. And I just think right now we have such a strong winning mindset. We know what we can do, and we know our potential. And so I think we're getting hot right now. I think these last 3 games are going to be really big, and then the SEC tournament just going in with a winning mindset.
That's good to hear. And I have to say, show people out there your fingernail polish. Okay, so this is
both of them here.
Both of them, right. I just want to, particularly CC's, I want people to notice this, and I want you to tell them that this is like pumpkin fingernail polish. This is not Tennessee orange fingernail.
No. This was pumpkins for the Halloween season.
Okay, all right. I
Yes.
just wanted to be clear on that
Yes.
and yours also, Reese, a little bit. It's more pinkish, isn't it?
Yes.
It's pink.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
pink.
All right. We can do it. Anyway, I just wanted to give you the heads up on that. That's very close to Tennessee,
Not Tennessee,
orange.
no,
Okay.
no.
All right. I just
Very
wanted to be clear on
soft.
that. One last question for each of you, real quickly. Reese, what are you doing academically? What's going on? What are you majoring in? What do you hope to do?
So I'm going to business now.
Okay.
I was in journalism and then was going to go into sports management. Now we're going to business, maybe
Okay.
law school, maybe sports law.
Okay.
Very undecided.
Okay.
Very open path in the
All
future.
right. If your mom and dad are listening, you need to be sure and tell them you're going to class every day.
100%.
Okay. Good deal. All right. That's good. All right. And Cece, what about you?
So I am currently majoring in allied health. I either would like to go to PA school or do some sort of master's in business and go into medical sales, be a medical sales rep.
Super.
Yeah, obviously that kind of depends on what I want to do after college when it comes to soccer.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Fantastic. Carolyn, Calzada, Reese, Rupe, just 2 more reasons why it's so much fun to hang around the Texas A&M soccer team and to watch them play. Ladies, thank you for taking time to come out here and visit with us. Appreciate it. Best of luck. All right, we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back. This is the Aggie Soccer Hour with Texas A&M head coach G Guerrieri. It's the Aggie Soccer Hour with Texas A&M head coach G Guerrieri. I'm David Ellis, and G, I have a couple of questions here for you. I think these are kind of cool questions.
All right. See if I can do it. No math, right?
No math
All right,
involved
good.
in this, none whatsoever. And Kevin gave us these to us. And by the way, there are cards out there on the table, and they're golf pencils. You don't have to play golf to use one of those, and you can just write down your question, bring them up here, and we'll ask. The first one was just a rules question. You see players standing over at the halfway line, 4th official over there waiting to be sent into the game. Does a team need to have possession of the ball to make a substitution?
Well, the answer is sometimes.
It's such a soccer answer, by the way.
I know. So if you want to make a substitution, and the answer is yes, but if the other team subs, you can sub as well.
You can sub on top of it.
Yeah. So if the other team, if it's our throw-in, then yes, I can make a substitution on our throw-in. But if the other team has the possession of the ball and they're going to make a substitution, I can substitute as well.
Right. But if they're not going to make a substitution,
Then I cannot.
Then you cannot. You have
Correct.
to wait until you have possession of the
Correct. So, and then I can make substitutions on my goal kick, and you can make substitutions on corner kicks. Typically, teams don't like to substitute on corner kicks because they're goal-scoring situations, and sometimes they don't do that. But oftentimes, the ball doesn't go out for quite a while, and so we have people waiting there for a long time. So sometimes we will. And then you can make substitutions on injuries and on cards.
Okay. All
So
right.
if someone gets a yellow card, I can usually bring that person off if I need to. Now, in high school, this is different than us. High school, it's an automatic. If someone gets carded in Texas high school soccer, that person has to come off as a cooling off period.
Right.
That's
right.
not the way it is here in the NCAA.
Exactly. Another question. This is related to the tournament and Pensacola. Of course, last year, after 16, 17 years in Orange Beach, the tournament moved to Pensacola. And the question here is, has Pensacola improved their stadium for the SEC tournament?
They have. So last year was like I said, it's the first year that it was in Pensacola, and Pensacola made quite a few improvements to the name of the park escapes me, but they made quite a few improvements to this park where the field is. They put in a grandstand, they put in a press box, and in the year since, I know they've spent over $1 million on. They've brought in new restroom buildings, they've brought in new locker rooms, and they've made some significant improvements to everything. The pitch was all brand new. It was new sod last year. It's a little bumpy at places because it was brand new sod last year. So now the field has taken for a full year, and it's supposed to be in really, really good shape. They've brought in a new they do a youth event around the tournament. So they were really, really pleased. The SEC and the city of Pensacola was really, really pleased. They broke all kinds of attendance records last year during the tournament for it. So they're expecting huge crowds again this next year. Now, again, Alabama and South Carolina played in the final last year, and I think that having Alabama in the championship probably was a good thing. Being that Pensacola is basically in lower Alabama anyway. Right. It kind of helped out with that.
I wonder if TD and I are going to be we were on the scaffolding last year. I wonder if we're going to still be on the scaffolding.
I don't know. It's a good question.
TD is saying yes, we are. Okay.
There you go.
All right. There you go. Well, it was anchored down with a rope. Keep it from falling over. It was a lot of fun. But
anyway,
comment.
No comment.
I'm not going to say anything either. But it was a good rope. So, all right. And again, there are copies up here if you would like one that it's called the SEC Soccer Tournament, Pensacola, Florida, the road to Pensacola, and it's got like every scenario in there. What happens when people are tied, how they settle ties, who gets the 8th seed, who gets the 9th seed, all that kind of good stuff. There's a ton of information here, and it tells you the current standings plus the people, the teams that these folks have left to play. So. Got copies up here if you want one.
There's a lot of scenarios here, and frankly,
there's a ton of them.
There's too many scenarios.
Yes.
They're going to call next Thursday is they're calling Decision
Day.
Because that's when it always has for the last 6 years. It really has come down to the last day determines the champion, the regular season champion, and it's determined who's gone where and who's been left home and everything else. It is that tight a league. It really is. as far as the competitive balance of this league. You
and I were talking during the break, and I wanted you to mention this to talk to our audience about this. But you've got 3 games left. You got this one at home against South Carolina, and then go on the road to play Tennessee. Come back, immediately go on the road again to close out the regular season against LSU and Baton Rouge. And, you look at that kind of 3-game package of games, and the tendency is, for some people, to look at those 3 games and go, gosh, it'd be great to win 3 in a row. And it would be. But that's not the way you win 3 in a row. How do you win 3 in a row?
Well, we're only focused on Thursday.
Right. You win 1 game in a row 3 times.
It's the only game that we're talking to the players about at all. We're not focused on anything past Thursday at 7:00 is kickoff, and we're focused on who South Carolina is, what they do, what their players are, what their tendencies are, how they defend, how they attack, what their set pieces look like, and what they have done this year, and how good they are, and what we have to be aware of, and how we're going to play, and how we're going to respond to the different things that they might try to throw at us, and that's all we can deal with. If you're going to win 3 games, you got to win the first one first.
That's right. You win the first game, and then you worry about the second game.
And the way the season's gone, you just don't know. So
the cool thing about this is that the 3 teams that Texas A&M plays are all ahead of them in RPI. Texas A&M. 3 weeks ago we were 109th or 100?
We were pretty far up there. Now I think it was more than 3 weeks ago, but
maybe a month ago.
For a while ago, we were as high as I think 116. We're now at 44.
Right.
So we are, and we've beaten We've beaten number 16 and we've beaten number 14.
Right.
They're typically the way that the NCAA committee looks at the NCAA tournament field is, have you beaten top 25 teams? Have you beaten top 50 teams? And there's a lot of teams out there in these with this number next to them who don't have any wins in the top 50, and that's.
Yeah, they may have a great record.
They may have a good number next to them, and they may have a lot of wins. They might be 10-2-2 or something like that, but they don't have any significant wins. And if you don't have any significant wins to go into that number of wins you have, then you might not be invited into this postseason tournament. And so that doesn't really help you. So for us, the good news for us is that we have played a lot of teams that are in this, that are up here. We've played Florida State, who's ranked number 1 in the country, and and we lost to them 2-1. But we've played teams that are up there. We lost 1-0 to Arkansas, who's number 10 in the RPI. We beat number 14. We beat number 16. We're going to play number 23. We're about to play number 34. We tied number 32. We're about to play number 40. We had a close loss in the first weekend to number 41. We tied, we played 54. We beat 57. We tied 75. And so all those teams are all in the top 75. And there's a lot of teams that haven't beaten anybody in the top 100.
Yeah.
And so, so our resume stands up pretty well. The other thing that is important is that you have to have a winning record. You have to have at least a 500 record. And that's one of the things that is, of course, for us is we're 2 games above 500 because we've played such a hard schedule. So we've got to keep winning. We've got to keep our nose ahead of 500. And so winning on Thursday is an important, factor.
Huge.
As it is for a lot of teams out there. Duke, for example, is a really good example. Duke, where they're up there ahead of us.
They're in the 30s.
So Duke is number 35. They're 5-5-3, and I think that they play Virginia Tech this Thursday. Now, Virginia Tech is another team that's up there pretty high, and then they're going to play Florida State.
Right.
So they're probably going to lose to Florida State. So, and then they're going to have another game against someone else's reasonably high. So they're going to probably lose to Florida State. They're going to beat this other team. So it's going to come down to this Virginia Tech game on if they're going to be above that line or below that line.
Right.
And Duke is a really good team. That's a team that was in the Final Four last year. So it's an amazing that's the way this year is. There's a lot of teams that are just really around that really fine line.
Heck of a way to make a living. All right.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
We're going to take a quick break and come back with the final segment. You're listening to the Aggie Soccer Hour. Texas A&M head coach G Guerrieri. We'll be right back. About trying to figure out what you're going to do for dinner. You don't even have to think about it. Just come by Rudy's. They got all kinds of stuff up there that is good to eat in terms of pork loin, pork ribs, baby back ribs, pulled pork, brisket, sausage, chicken, you name it, turkey. If you haven't tried the turkey, I highly recommend it. It's very, very good. I also need to be sure and thank Kevin Minchow over here to my right, our kind of on-site engineer / producer. Austin's back at the station. Without these two guys, none of this happens.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, and they have just Kevin's done all of them this year. I think you hadn't missed any, have you?
Yeah, he's been here all year. Done a great job.
Yeah. And then Austin has been there for most of them as well. They do such an incredible job, and we are so grateful to Brian Broadcasting for their support of Texas A&M soccer. I want to remind you one more time, Thursday, 7 o'clock, senior night against South Carolina. I really hope you'll take the opportunity to come out. Your presence at Ellis Field makes such a big, big difference. And there's 4 other reasons to be out there besides just great soccer. It is senior night. That'll get underway between 6:40, 6:45, somewhere along in there. We're going to recognize our seniors on the team. If you're a faculty or staff member at Texas A&M, it's faculty staff appreciation night. You get 2 free tickets, so you don't have to pay any money. And if you need more than 2, the additional tickets are just $3 each. All you have to do is go to 12thman.com/promotions. It is Aggie Soccer shirt giveaway night. It's an Adidas shirt, maroon. G says they're really good looking. The first 400 fans to visit the Howdy tent in the northwest corner of Ellis Field are going to get a free shirt. And on top of that, it is 50% off all concessions pregame. Concessions open up at, let's see, all concession stand in the first 30 minutes of gates opening. So from 6 to 6:30. It's going to be 50% off. That excludes alcohol and bottled water. But anyway, so go on out there.
Also, if for people who did the punch card for the scarf, this is your last chance to pick up that scarf and get your punch card done, so you can your Aggie Soccer scarf as well. So
absolutely. So
lots of giveaways,
all kinds of good reasons.
And it's going to be a great game.
It's going to be a great game, and it's going to just be a great night weather-wise. So no reason not to come out for Texas A&M soccer against South Carolina at 7 o'clock. What can you tell us about South Carolina, other than they're good?
Yeah, well, they are South Carolina's reputation for a long, long time. Really, for as long as we've been in the league, has been one of staunch defense. I mean, they are a defense first. They've had some great goalkeeping for the past 5 generations of goalkeepers that they've had there, but. The Smiths husband-wife team, they're there. They do a wonderful job of organization, and they're really, really hard to get behind. Hins, who is their goalkeeper, was the MVP of the SEC tournament last year. They don't give up many looks. They really do a great job of kind of suffocating people in their half of the field. But the biggest thing is they are very, very dangerous on the break. And you've got Catherine Berry up front, who's got 8 goals and 4 assists on the season. She's 6 feet tall. She's very strong. She's very powerful. She can hold people off the ball. She's got an extra gear. She's deceptively fast. She's deceptively quick and tricky on the ball. And if you allow her to face up and see the goal, she's got amazing power and accuracy. She can score goals. Right foot, left foot. She can score with her head. She is a menace and a real danger, and you can't give her an inch because she can win games She can win games by putting the team on her back. Around her, Shea O'Rourke and Karina Zullo have got an extra gear of speed. They're both deceptive in that they can kind of invite you in, and then they can roll and go, and they've got breakaway speed. Both of them do. So. The two of them, Reagan Schubach does a great job as far as helping on the goal scoring. She's got 6 goals on the season. So
most of those coming off the bench.
Yeah, and so the deal is they can keep people behind the ball, and then they can break with these really dangerous attackers. And so, it's not like a lot of teams who just keep people back and they're going for a tie or they're going for a draw. I mean, they can basically keep people behind the ball, and then they're super dangerous in the attack as well. So they can score on restarts, they can score on the break, and they're decent in possession. So, I mean, it's one of the reasons why they've got 1 loss on the season. They got 1 loss by 1 goal to North Carolina, and that was a game that Carolina was 2-1. That was down to the wire, and they're used to playing in front of big crowds. They get great crowds at Stone Stadium, and it's one of those. They're one of those programs that. Now, year in and year out, they are always at the top of the SEC, standings. Whether they're, first, second, third, fourth, they're always up there. And they've really, I think that Shelley has done a great job of establishing a real culture of winning, and that they expect it. They come in expecting to win every single game.
Absolutely. You mentioned their goalkeeper, Heather, and she's 0.62 goals against average, so averaging less than a goal a game in terms of goals given up, and an 8.18 save percentage. So she saves about 82% of the shots that are taken against her that are on frame. So she's really, really good as well.
And they don't give up. They don't give up good shots. Is part of that. I mean, because the defense is so suffocating in and around her penalty area.
Yeah,
so,
they've given up 8 goals all year long.
Yeah, that's not bad.
They're a tough team to score against. The Aggies are going to have their hands full, but you've seen this team play. Texas A&M is fully capable of winning this game, and I expect to see a great effort out of the Aggies come Thursday.
You will, and it's there's a lot on the line. There's a lot on the line for us. It's our last game out. It's senior night.
Yeah.
You get a chance if you come out. So the senior night ceremonies are going to start with 14 minutes on the clock. So come on out. You'll get a chance to see the families of these seniors. The Ross Volunteers will not be there. They're not going to be taking part in these anymore. But we have some really fun things going to be taking part in it, and it's a really special night for these seniors. And the deal is, this kind of cool, is these seniors, they're seniors because they're graduating. So a lot of these girls still have more eligibility left. They just happen to finish their classes, and so they make them graduate. One of the rules they have at this damn school is they make them graduate.
All righty.
So
that's going to about do it for us.
This
copyrighted broadcast is an exclusive presentation of Learfield IMG College under broadcasting rights granted by Texas A&M University. Reuse of this presentation is prohibited without the express written consent of Texas A&M University and Learfield IMG College. Announcers were provided by Learfield IMG College and Texas A&M University. For G Guerrieri, I'm David Ellis. Thanks for being here. See you next week, everybody.